Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BTB Movie Club podcast. My name is Ryan Malo. We hope you enjoyed today's movie discussion. Thanks for listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BTB Movie Club. My name is Tim Larson. I'm here presently with Brian Larson, Matt Smith, Mike Wilden, Aaron Lashbrook, and Sneaky Dan Sears. We are likely to be joined later by Mike Hilty. We're here to discuss movie number 245, A Quiet Place, picked by someone we don't know yet. We're going to find out at the end of the show who picked this one. Partially rewritten, directed, and acted by John Krasinski, along with his wife, Emily Blunt, the fabulous Emily Blunt. Dan Sears is going to take over this conversation for us, and we will take guesses and find out who picked this silent but not silent movie. Dan Sears, take it away, sir.
Oh, I thought we were going to be silent the entire time. Okay. All right. Well, we can jump right in here. Let's see. I feel that Matt Smith hasn't gone first in a while, so we're going to go with you first, Matt.
All right. It's been a minute since I've seen this. I did not get a chance to actually rewatch it, but I have seen it. So I kind of went back and read some synopses and stuff. So I remember at the time I thought this was just a tremendous just like piece of art, I guess is the easiest way to say. I don't know if art's I mean it is art, I get that, but like I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for, but um and then just the silence. Uh, I thought the movie was going to be slow and boring. It's like there's no dialogue, but it actually works like perfect. It definitely adds to the tension. Um, and then I read a couple things that the first couple edits they actually did it with no sound at all, just to see what it would sound like. Well, that's
Matt.
I didn't mean to do that. But to the point where somebody had said in an interview, like it actually works. Like if there's absolutely no sound in the movie, it still works just because of the sign language, and you can kind of figure out you can figure out what's going on from context. Um, yeah, what a interesting premise. I don't know if this is the first time something like this has been done, but it definitely is the first time I had seen something like this. And fill me in if you guys know of something else. But um, and what a chance to take, right? Like, hey, I'm gonna have this movie with no dialogue. Luckily, there was only like six actors in it, so it's not like they had to pay a lot of people. But to go to a studio and be like, hey, I'm gonna make this movie, and we're not gonna talk. We're just gonna do sign language, and aliens are gonna come kill us if we talk. I have to think that was a little bit of a um, gamble to take to the studio. So yeah, the actors are great in this. Krasinski does a good job. Emily Blunt does a great. I think the kids. I always appreciate kid actors because you watch movies sometimes and the kid actors they're fine. Like they're not messing up the movie or anything, but they're definitely not seasoned, pros like you see. And so I always appreciate when the kids are just actually really, really good actors. And the daughter she's deaf, right? The actress is
Yep.
deaf.
She's actually deaf,
Um,
yep.
so I don't, I'm sure that helped because she didn't have to also act something she doesn't know. Um, but then even the other kid and um yeah, so I don't know how much I have to say because like I said I didn't get a chance to rewatch it, but from what I remember being very impressed by the movie. um and impressed with the concept. I have not seen the sequel. I don't know if anybody has, or if it's out, maybe
It's
on.
yeah.
Is it out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
um
two more
There's a
after
sequel and a
this.
prequel.
yeah, sequel and a prequel, right? So I've not seen those, so I'd be interested if anybody's willing to share what those are like. I'm guessing it's not as good, but and then my only real weird thing that I read was movie theaters didn't make as much money on concessions during this movie because people were afraid to make noise. People were afraid to eat and like rustle their bags and popcorn and stuff. So
So
theaters
Matt,
didn't yeah.
on that, I was reading the trivia today, and kind of a cool little thing in the movie that you wouldn't maybe notice when they go to the pharmacy. All the shelves are kind of depleted except
Hmm.
for potato chips.
Oh
Like
yeah, the
there's
potato
tons of those
chip.
there because nobody would want to eat them because they make noise.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So, I guess the only other thing I would say is I can't imagine because I love that the opening scene is basically the kid dies, and I can't imagine what kind of guilt that kid felt for handing those back or handing that toy back to the brother, and just that's what happened. So I like that they address that eventually as well. I think at the end, he's before he sacrifices himself, he says something to her or whatever. So I do appreciate that they just did that in the beginning, and it was just like the shock value to go with the silence that you're. Yeah, it's just yeah. I just thought that was impressive. So yeah,
So, man, I'm going to ask you a question related to that. It
okay.
seems like in this world, having kids is the worst thing because they don't, shut up. And when you tell them to shut up, they don't. So how would you keep your kids quiet in this world?
Well, I mean, watching your little brother get eaten by an alien probably did the trick, if I'm being honest. I mean,
If you guys don't keep it down, the alien's gonna show
that's
up.
right. That's right. I don't know. I mean, they had like was it soundproof? Was it the crib or not the crib, but like they have a soundproof cradle? Was it airproof too? Was she like getting oxygen in there or something?
Yeah,
Like,
they had an oxygen tank with a little like baby-sized mask for it. So that was like it had a bunch of pillows and everything so they could like put the crying newborn baby in there, put oxygen on it and then close it.
yeah. Yeah, so I don't know, and I don't know, Dan. I think we'd get attacked a lot if it was my kids. So
Okay. Fair enough. That's an honest answer.
yeah.
All right. Okay, moving right along. I think Mike, you're up next, Mr. Wilden.
Um, so I don't know sign language. And I've seen this before, and I'm glad that I've seen this before because I know, what's going on, what's happening, because the captions did not translate any of the sign language on YouTube for this movie. They talked in sign for like 5 minutes, and then you just say Lee sighs because he's frustrated at, trying to talk to his daughter, and like that's the only caption they
That's
would
the
give you.
caption you got. That's not as
Yeah,
helpful as
so I just turned those off for the later half of the movie. Um, that being said, I really enjoyed this movie. I knew I liked it the first time I saw it, and it didn't change this time at all. And I actually kind of enjoyed watching it without the captions and like it's kind of like what I mean, it is technically watching, it's watching a film in another language and without the captions, and you just kind of just try to, figure out what's going on based on the emotions and the expressions of the characters. And I had some background because obviously because I remembered, I'd seen it before. And like at the end when he says that I love you, I've always loved you, like I knew that, and I knew the like, the that like that much I knew that. But um,
Yeah, I
anyway,
read that
aside from all that,
I read that originally they filmed this without any captions at all. They were
yep.
just going to go with that,
So
and
you got
people
the
would just,
original
figure
intent,
it
Mike.
out. Yeah,
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 there you
that's
go. See, but yeah, so kind of like Matt said, I love that they took a big swing on this. Very, very little dialogue, just um, by the water, pretty much is it. They don't even say a lot of words there. Um, I love the concept. I love the other big swing of, like Matt said, the kid gets killed within what the first 5 minutes or so, the youngest kid. I know what you were shaking your fist for there, Tim, but the timing on that was
I'm here to help.
um but like there's a lot of risks that were taken in this. They did not hold back on that, and it definitely paid off. Great story, great attention to detail. I mean, like Matt was saying with the crib and the oxygen, and just all the different like articles. I don't know if anybody ever did this, but I paused it at one point and like tried to kind of read all the little headlines and see, just the world building, you don't get to know much. You see this from the point of view of these characters that are going through this and don't know any of the answers. So you basically know what they know, but it's still just such an intriguing world, like because it makes you want to know more. Like, oh, how did this happen? Where did they come from? It's just, and then on top of that, going into this movie at the beginning with no knowledge of it, at the end you still want to know more because they ended on a cliffhanger in a way. It's like it's a cool ending, but you're just like, oh, I want to see what happens. Um,
Sequel.
yeah. Well, I haven't seen the sequel yet, but this made me want to go and watch the sequel right away. But I didn't have time to do that today, so um, acting's spot on in this. I thought I mean, you know, not to make not to be ironic here, but like the sound editing in this is fantastic, I thought. Like the kind of raptor sounding monsters and kind of the noise they made, the tension building kind of background music whenever a monster be coming close and kind of with kind of like the heartbeat and everything that kept on getting faster when there was a real, like when the guy's in the woods, you see that like his wife's not gone and um he screams and they run around the tree like that. You hear that heartbeat thing just faster, 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 faster until suddenly the monster's there and um
I like the
yeah,
way they did
I
like it from her perspective, the deaf child's perspective.
yeah.
When she couldn't hear anything, and then they'd switch to the another character who could hear.
Yeah, and I like that for the detail of it, but I also like the effect that gives a little bit of a chilling effect too when you have that silence and you see all this like that's I yeah, even just the staging, if I like the idea of like the when the kid at the beginning is stops at the bridge and he's playing with the toy and that gives you know John Krasinski's character was it Lee um a chance to be running, to try and save his, looking and running. Like it gives you that action scene, that tense moment. They set a lot of things up for that tension really, really well. And like any good, I think the best horror movies and the best thrillers put the characters in situations where you're like, how the hell are they going to get out of this? There's no way. They're done. They're done. They're about to die. And when you have Emily Blunt's character about to give birth in a bathtub with these, sound hunting creatures, you're like, she's done. There's no way. And it's just, they do a great job of creating that tension. Um, I had seen it before, and I found myself just like, like, oh, just nervous for the characters. Um, and I like the emotion in it too. I fought back a couple of tears when the daughter was, discovering all the stuff and discovering all the hearing aids that her dad had been working on, and uh, yeah, man, I think this movie truly, I think, has everything. It's probably got to be one of my favorite horror movies. I'd clarify that as a horror movie, right? I mean,
Yeah.
um, but uh. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm saying a whole lot of nothing, but I loved this, and so I'll stop there.
I'm not going to use the word thriller because I think people will just jump all over me if I say thriller. So,
What?
so Mike, let me ask you, of our group here, who would be the least likely to make it in a world of limited or no talking?
Me or either of the Larsons.
Okay.
Can't keep our thoughts in our head. Can't do it.
All right. Now we're joined by Mr. Hilty. How are you, Hilty?
Oh,
Good.
he's in the
Good.
spirit of it. He's being silent.
Yeah, those are my thoughts. Yeah.
That's two guys that did that trick.
Hmm.
All right. Well, Tim, keep going. You're up.
Okay. I d- I watched it today, and I'm still not sure what to think about this. I agree with everybody who has positive things to say about this as an art piece. Swinging for the fences, I think Wilden said. Totally agree. The silence is really cool. The way it's shot is really beautiful. The scenery
Hmm.
around there, it's. I think they shot it in New York State. Um, they bought a shit ton of corn and hired farmers to farm the corn so they could have that corn as scenery. Shot in 35 days, I think I read it. So like they put a lot of pre-production into planning this thing out, which is cool. The issue I had with it in watching it is like Melo would maybe love this movie because there is zero exposition whatsoever. You don't get to know anything about what's going on. You're just thrown in the middle of this fucking mess. And I was like, somebody tell me something like why? Just somebody give me a hint as to what the fuck's going on here because I just don't care for it. And then the kid with the rocket and the little thing goes on and then the animal comes by and or alien wipes him out was just a little too convenient for me as a setup. I just didn't care about the kid at the time. I didn't have any emotions. I think what's his name? John Krasinski. He does a great job acting here, and his reactions were great. But I was like, all right, a kid died. Like that's all I got out of that scene, honestly. And it took a while for me to like get past that. Once I
Spoken like
did,
someone that
though,
doesn't have kids.
yeah, sure. Once I did get past that, though, I like the execution of the last two-thirds of the movie quite a lot. And I did get invested. It was the beginning third that I was just like, what the fuck's going on here? Um, but I know they got at least nominated for an Oscar for sound editing. I don't know if they won it, but I think they at least got nominated for it, and I think that's well deserved because you could tell some cool stuff that they did there. I love the ideas. I mean, this thing is like I was thinking it's like a mixture of Stranger Things and The Walking Dead. Um, like the monsters kind of look like Stranger Things, and The Walking Dead is kind of how you live in a, like you said, world building. Mike, um, this thing got done for 17 million and made 341 million in the theater. So they had a pretty good idea here. The two dudes that wrote this story, they've written quite a few that have turned into movies: Haunt, Nightlight, Heretic, and 65, and they're doing pretty good. And so this had been shopped around a little bit, and Krasinski grabbed it, and I kind of like this. Emily Blunt they just had a kid, and he didn't push his wife to do it, even though those two writers had like targeted her. They were like, "This is who I want to have as the actress for the mom," and Krasinski ended up landing it, which is maybe on accident, maybe not, but he didn't push her because he didn't want her to feel like you just had a baby and now you have to take this role. And also, he didn't want her to take it just because he took it and she was doing it just to help him out. So he let her come to her own decision on that. And I think she just crushes it, man. I think Emily Blunt acting in this role, um, she's so expressive. I like her and everything she's in. And I think she just sells out an outstanding performance here. Um, let's see. I love the sign language. The use of it is just so good that they decided to make one of the kids deaf to bring sign language in and to have that mechanism in there. It's just that's a nice story element. Um, Krasinski said at first he was like, "How the hell am I going to do a movie?" There was written in the story it was only one line of dialogue, and he got it up to 25. But he decided along the way, like maybe the lack of dialogue could be this movie's superpower, and I think he played that card really well. Um, he got let's see here. I'm gonna look this up. Give me just a second. Two things. Emily Blunt did the bathtub scene in one take, and according to Krasinski, as soon as he said cut, she just immediately left the character and asked what everybody's having for lunch. How the fuck you gather yourself after that, I don't know. But then Krasinski said the single greatest compliment that he received was from Stephen King, favorite of mine, of course, A Quiet Place is an extraordinary piece of work, terrific acting, but the main thing is the silence and how it makes the camera's eye open wide in a way that few movies can manage. You guys have both, a couple of people have already brought that up. I think the silence in here is riveting. I just didn't buy the story at the beginning, but I was in line with them later. I did look up the second movie, which is available to buy for $4.99, I think, by the way. And I saw sort of the beginning of it. You know how you, when you're on a streaming service, it starts to play a little bit of it. Um, that one looks like there's a lot more going on with the city and the rest of the population and how to handle being in a society, kind of like The Walking Dead does. Like you start getting into other members of society and how they've handled it and problems that arise from that. So I will definitely be buying and watching the second movie because I'm curious. I like the world that they've created here. So
Yeah.
those are my thoughts
You
on
might
that.
want
Can
to
I say one
start.
more thing about the? Oh, go ahead.
You might want to start with the third movie, which is actually the prequel to
Do
the
the
first
prequel?
movie.
Think so?
So if, well, it doesn't matter at the end of the day, but it's, if the backstory is something that kind of clamoring for, that third one you could do worse.
Okay.
Helps out a little bit. It doesn't tell you anything about the family, but
One question I had is why can't the daughter go downstairs? Like what the fuck? Unless he's just thinking she can't hear that she's going to make noise going down the stairs. That's what I took from it, but it was just weird that that was an argument. You're not allowed to go down the stairs to the basement. I don't know if anybody has a take on that.
I think maybe he just didn't want her to see him working on the, all the hearing aids, and
Yeah.
maybe there would be some kind of interference with, I don't know, something like that. There are a
Oh,
couple
okay.
things.
So maybe both of the kids weren't allowed down there, and it was just like, here's where we hide all the information and the all those news
Maybe.
articles that you talked about before. They're just trying to hide him from it. I don't know. I just thought it wasn't very clear.
Yeah, I think that was a little
Um,
more of it, the keeping information from them so they wouldn't get too scared.
yeah.
Okay.
What? So one thing on the deaf girl and the sign language thing, I kind of the one other thing I forgot to say was I love that like you kind of think about like how could like obviously like the deaf daughter is going to be at a disadvantage in a world like this, but the family as a whole, when you think about it, is actually at a huge advantage when these aliens, monsters, whatever, they hunt sound. This family already knows how to speak at advanced levels in sign language. So, they're able to communicate silently when, if it was, a few of us, we'd be like, with none, we wouldn't know. Um, so I kind of, I don't know if they intended this or not, but I like the fact that like it kind of fits that this family is actually pretty well equipped to have some kind of survival advantage in a world like this because of the daughter being deaf.
Yeah. I have little things to take apart from the premise, but maybe we'll wait till the end because I want to hear everybody else's thoughts. Like, what do you do if you sneeze? Never mind. Carry on.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of horror movies like that, you gotta
Right.
suspend some
You just gotta
disbelief there.
you just gotta be okay with it. Yeah.
Yep. So Tim, I got a question for you.
Yep.
The only song in this movie is Harvest Moon that she's playing on her headphones. You don't have to answer this right away. You might want to think about it, but what song would you put into the movie?
Wow. That's yeah, I'm gonna wait and think about that.
Yeah, you don't have to answer that right away. I'll let you think about that.
I mean, there's an obvious answer.
The Sound of
Sound of
Silence.
Silence.
Yeah,
The Sound of
yeah.
Silence.
So
Yeah.
you guys were way ahead
That
of
where
me.
you're going
Way
for,
ahead.
Dan?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, so was that where you're going for, Dan?
I was thinking that one, but whatever,
But
it's
which
up to you.
version, I guess. Which version?
Oh, yeah.
That's true. All right. Brian Larson, you're up next on your thoughts on A Quiet Place.
I had seen this before. That's why I picked it so that we could all watch it together. And it's such a well done movie. A lot of the things we've already talked about. I whenever we whenever come across the sign language situation, I always think of Coda, which was just a phenomenal movie, and this would be the horror version of Coda. would be
Yeah.
a good way to put it, I think. The I wish, in this day and age with movie trailers and such, you already know what you're getting into for 99% of the movies. But how great would this movie beginning have been if you didn't know there were these aliens that were, and then all of a sudden the toy comes on and it's like, why is he freaking out about the toy? And then the alien gets him and it's like, oh shit. It would have just took it to a new level. Um, I was actually shocked that the nail coming out of the stairs came into effect later in the movie. I mean, that was really weird that she stepped on that nail. I didn't see that coming at all. But you gotta do it. You gotta do what you gotta do. A little foreshadowing, try it suspense, but the
Whenever they'd
interesting question was,
foreshadow, it was right in your face because they did that with the water too. Like when he's leaving, it's like, ooh, giant leak. Hope that doesn't cause problems
Right.
later. Like
Right.
yeah.
but it was all well done. I didn't have an issue with it, any of it. Krasinski, like I said, like Emily Blunt, he gave her the script and she was like, that's me. So, um, just truly enjoyable movie. I started to watch the second part. I had planned on it for a while. It's actually on my list, part two and day one on Paramount Plus, and I just haven't got around to watching it. So I started to watch it, and it was like, you know what? I don't want to do this because I don't want to combine the two movies
Right.
when we're talking about it. So I backed off of that. Um, you know, the I thought Matt's comment how it was really good. They had a deaf girl, like good for her. Not really, but she, like I knew what you meant. You were like happy she's deaf. You were like good that she's working and doing things. I overcoming the disability. But on IMDb, I went to look at it, and somebody like wrote their quote was like, "I'm deaf and I really enjoy it." It's like, good for you. Oh, you meant the movie. That's okay. You should reread what you write. But no, really, really, I'm proud of myself for picking this. And you know, thank you, Dan.
All right. So Brian, if you came face to face with a death angel, what would you do to kill it?
Uh,
Or would you just run? I mean, that's an option also.
I was like, I'd divorce her again.
All right. I wasn't going there with that, but hey, you can have any answer that you want to that question. All right. Okay, moving right along here. Aaron, you're up next. Okay, yeah, I agree, 100%. Yep, go Lions, yep.
That was American Sign Language for I kind of like this movie.
Nice.
I looked it up and learned it. Like
Can I
just
say
now.
something? I'm sorry. I know, Aaron, I don't mean to jump on yours, but had anybody watched Sinners on HBO Max where they actually have a sign language person at the bottom of it? One of the options to watch that movie, they have somebody
I,
doing sign language at the bottom.
I've
That's
watched the movie on HBO Max. I didn't see it with the sign language, but that's kind of cool.
it's a
Yeah,
nice
I thought it
option.
was interesting.
Yeah, I think I think you maybe told me that before. Maybe when we were talking about it, I don't know if you brought it up in the group before, but you had told me, and I thought it should be more and more, movies. But anyway, you want me to keep going about this
No,
one?
that was it. I just wanted.
Yeah.
I was going to bring it up when I was talking. And I forgot about it. So, once you pretended to do sign language like you knew it,
Absolutely. I kinda liked this movie.
See, when you were
100%. That's
pointing
what
at
I
your
said.
chest, I thought you were talking
for
about the Lions
for
shirt you
all
had
of our
on.
listeners, Aaron did not get it correct.
Well, that's what Google
They
told
won't
me.
know. Nobody-
It's the only one that I know. I just know this one right here.
Yeah. All right, so that was true. I kind of liked it. C plus. I'm glad the guys who really liked it went first, and I'm glad Tim kind of buffered so I didn't have to be the one to come in and whack everybody's toes with a hammer, um, or step on a nail. Um, One, was I wrong? Not only did they foreshadow the nail getting pulled up with the potato sack and she stepped on it, wasn't it still sticking up when they all went back down there? Because I thought the
Yes.
daughter was going to
think
step on it
so.
too
Me too.
and
Yeah.
never did.
Yeah.
So that was like, I was like, that was a nice little misdirect. I like that. Um, One thing I got to start off right away is this movie. I never saw it, but I've seen things about it. And I thought it was this one, and I brought it up last week, and I think I brought it up once before that I thought this was the horror movie. An actor was talking about it, and they're like, "Yeah, the CGI idea that the director originally had looked like kind of a big human baby." And everybody thought it was ridiculous, and it didn't test well, and it never ended up happening. But they showed like black background, kind of green outline, and I can't find anything about that anywhere because watching this movie and seeing the alien, I thought the alien was fantastic. Like the way they did it, I saw Tim had brought up, I think, Stranger Things
Yeah.
and kind of the Demigorgon, how its face worked. But like this one, I think makes way more sense. Like its plates help direct the sound, and its ears, its auditory collector, whatever you want to call it, is so big. I just thought it was like perfectly designed. For what, I don't know, other than hearing sound that hurts it. So that seems like a weird choice, and that kind of comes up over and over in the movie. Tim already pointed out the boy being perfectly placed at the end of the trestle, so the alien can sweep by perfectly, you know, and while everybody else is on the bridge. It's just um, not convoluted. Can't think of the word. Starts with a C. It just seemed too perfect, or
Just
not
very,
perfect
it
for the
was
kid.
just very convenient.
Convenient,
Contrived.
contrived. That's the word. It seemed very contrived. Um, and just different things like that kept like. So we've all said great things, or you guys have all said great things, like cinematography and the sound and the sets and the, or lack of sound. It was all great. Um, it was just the overall story. It's like, oh, you know, why don't they live by the waterfall where they can make some sounds and not get murdered for sneezing? Um,
Yeah.
why do they keep having kids? That seems like a really dumb idea, and and I don't know. I didn't see anything that, I mean, we know some time has passed since the youngest kid got killed. Um, but I don't know, have they like, were all the kids born this way? Have they been struggling for 2 years or 10 years? And I don't know, they seem
Well,
pretty good at it.
it opens up with a day, right? It says day something. It's less than 100.
I
Yeah.
think it was
Then
So,
Okay.
at one
89 was
point
our.
when this goes into
I
play,
didn't
I think
catch
it's
that.
like 460 something.
yeah,
400,
that's
yeah.
after after
So
the
it's one
kid
or two
dies.
years in. Yeah.
So the
Okay.
the
So
opening
it's
scene's like day 90 or something.
okay.
Yeah. And then about a year goes by and says like day 400 something.
Must have missed
And
both of those. Um, but, kind of, I guess that proves it that I wasn't totally engrossed in it. Um, I was actually, a lot of the time, looking back on it, I was looking up about the aliens. I was trying to find that baby alien that I had talked about, and the more I looked for that, the more I had been Googling um, alien in A Quiet Place, and I kept getting more and more information about these cool aliens that I really liked, and looking more into that, and into their background. So there's some stuff that didn't come up in this movie that must come up in the prequels or the sequels about where they come from and what they eat and stuff like that, because they don't eat the humans. They just kill them because they're loud. They just want sound to stop. Um, from what I read. Um, but yeah, there was just too many things. I think one of my problems that I had was it was done too well and had too good of actors to be a good horror movie. It just, um, everything was so good about it. It was like, oh, the story should make a little more sense to me. like I said, having kids to keep having kids, um, I don't understand that decision at all. Um,
Life finds a way.
yeah, well, I don't know.
Maybe there's no birth control pills, they're all
Yeah, but
gone.
he's a doctor, scientist. I mean, they know how it
Yep.
works. They know what makes the baby. Um, and I don't know.
I,
Like
I
I
had an
said,
issue with that too. I'm with you, Aaron. I'm with you.
for how incredibly smart they seem to be, there's just a couple gaping decisions that they made that seemed like, ooh, this isn't very smart. Um, but yeah, overall, I watched it. I'll watch it again if it's on. I might get more out of it because obviously I missed some stuff while I was Googling things. Um, I'll watch the sequel and the prequel eventually. I'm interested in the world. And like I said, the alien was, I thought, one of the cooler monsters that we've had in a while. And the child actors, you guys were great, right on, whoever gave them praise. Um, the youngest son, no, well, the youngest one left. Um, his like tortured side and fear, it was great. Um, the girl was awesome too with her cochlear implants, and how they worked and with the screeching and stuff like that. Um, and from what I saw while I was Googling, that kind of stuff comes into play in the other movies somehow from some of the pictures and little clips that I saw. But overall, like I said, C plus is not, in my mind, a bad grade. It's a rewatchable movie, and maybe I'll get more out of it then. But I thought it was good, Brian. It was a good pick.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that was a question I was going to ask you, how you rated this monster in the world of horror movies, monsters. But
Monsters
you
an A
already
plus.
kind okay,
Movies a
yeah,
C
you already
plus.
answered that. Yep. All right. Well, we got Hilty is left to go here. So what'd you think of the movie there, Hilty?
I like this movie a lot, and I think a large part of the reason why I like this movie a lot is because watching this in the theater really enhances the experience.
Ooh, I bet.
Because um when like silence in a movie theater, like when you're in a giant crowd of people, is just even weirder. And I think that's like, and with the boom, like when there is sound, it's just booming in the theater, and it just amps the stakes for everything. Um, like I tend to agree with like everybody. Like I don't know who else said that. The end is just a very contrived way to, or the beginning at least, is a very contrived way to start the movie. Um, I took it as a way, it's like, oh, it shows that like nobody's safe in this, and why would anyone be safe in something like this? Um, I do agree that the story is a little messy slash lacking, but I also kind of think that that was partially good storytelling so that it leaves something else on the table. But then again, also I give movies a lot of shit for that because it's like, hey, why don't you tell a good story now instead of potentially sequel baiting down the road? So, which that is Hollywood in a nutshell right now. Let's build off a bunch of things. Let's kind of do some so-so moves on a movie just so that we could tell more in the sequel, assuming that it gets a sequel. And this was a massive hit because this grossed a lot and it was fairly successful on a modest budget and an interesting premise. And I think nowadays in Hollywood, that will go a long way because people are clamoring for, or at least they say they're clamoring for something that's semi-original. And this, I think, right place, right time in terms of I think Jordan Peele kind of started this a little bit where, hey, we're trying to do some original things with horror, and I think John Krasinski just came in at the right time to not so much like piggyback off of that, but I feel like this movie came out at the right time where people are actually paying attention and looking for more originality as opposed to like just a generic slasher movie. So,
Hey, Hilty,
uh,
can I ask you a question?
sure.
Um, I'm thinking I'm going to invoke a Star Wars conversation here. Um, I'm thinking of Star Wars comes out and then it's such a big hit that all of a sudden Lucas is like, okay, guess what, guys? There's nine stories here, and he starts writing. Do you think they left nuggets in this story so that they could turn it into a sequel, or do you think they just went and took their story and went, if this gets made, great. This is my story for now. I've got other ideas, but this is what we're having for the first story. Do you think leaving nuggets for a sequel was on purpose, or do you think they just took their good idea and went, let's just try and get one movie made?
That's hard to determine, but I do think that they leave some things up to potential sequel baiting, but overall, I would probably go under the assumption that they wrote it with the intention that they'd like to get a sequel, but if it doesn't, then this can semi stand on its own.
Okay.
So basically, I'm tap dancing around the question because I don't know. So
That's a
I don't
good
know.
dance, though. That's a good tap dance.
I don't have a good answer for this, but um, I will give this credit. The sequel's pretty good, and I really like the first one because the first one is just like it takes place just as the aliens are starting to invade, and nobody knows what's going on. So everybody just trying to figure everything out, and everybody's terrified, and there's just something really unsettling about just the all the unknown aspects of this whole thing. So I do give this movie credit for a lot of things. Like the sound editing is really good. The acting is really good. I think John Krasinski is a really talented director, and he gets most out of most of his performances. Um, I do think that he's swinging for the fences, and there's some aspects. It's like, oh, this is a first time director, just with some stylistic choices and then some acting choices as well from the other performers, and that's fine. You just as you're starting to learn what it means to be a director, that's inevitably going to happen. Um, and since then, some of his other movies he's continued to evolve as a director, which is good. Um, he's really good at getting the most out of child actors because the one of the other movies he did, If, he did a really good job um, getting the most out of that, which seemed kind of like a silly premise, but also filled with a lot of heart and filled with a lot of good things to say. And thematically, there's a lot here when it comes to the like one of the things that I think John Krasinski has said is that I wasn't going for some of the themes that some of the people are taking away from this. Like, there's a lot of people who are taking religious themes out of this and political themes out of this. But the main thing that he said that he was going for is that he wanted to tell a story about just how much modern parenting, how difficult it is. And I think he kind of nails it on the head with this, and he does a really good job of talking about that. Um, so kudos to him for that. And I think for to create a wholly original, like new horror franchise in this day and age is not exactly the easiest thing, especially since there's so much potentially out there. So good for them for creating something that has had kind of lasting effect. And the Oscar, it did lose to Bohemian Rhapsody, which I think is stupid, but whatever. It is what it is.
The Oscar for editing, sound editing.
Sound editing. Yep, it lost to Bohemian Rhapsody.
All right. All right. Glad you like my pick.
So to answer some of your other questions, the creature design is an A plus. It gets better as they get more technology and they get more money to do all this stuff. The creatures in the first or in A Quiet Place Day One are really good. Brian Larson is obviously the first person that's going to, be killed by these aliens first because he's going to say something, and then, oh, I'm sorry, Brian, is that incorrect?
No, it is not incorrect. You are accurate.
It's either that or just some of us who are just like, you know what, I'm done. Just do me in now, please. I can't live in a world like this.
The old guy in the woods.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah.
When
My
he
last
lost
two
his
words would
wife
be
and just
"fuck
couldn't go on.
you."
Mhm.
But
I
if
want
I'm
my
going
last
out,
word to be a scream, though. I would just,
Yeah,
I would
I'm
try to say something
motherfucking
clever.
somebody.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Well, and all right. So since we're getting swearing and stuff, Mike earlier was talking about like, oh, it was because the girl knew sign language. Like my kids know household sign language. Just, like, well, you don't have to talk. The kids will pick up on them.
For the listeners, Aaron is making angry gestures from a parent.
But
He
I
just
don't-
actually did a slit your throat thing, which is an interesting parent choice.
And my kids are really good. They understood. They understood the assignment.
That's why they're good.
Every parent knows that sign language move. Absolutely. I support
So-
you, Aaron.
Right, yeah. Don't make me come over. Don't make me come over there. I think people would develop, unspoken language really quick that just about everybody would understand from, half a mile away. But
All right.
I do like that they used a hard, we're completely deaf. I don't know how much of a
My point
cast
was
her because
like,
she was completely deaf, or just a person that was hard of hearing. I don't know anything about her, so
I think my point on that though was like they started out ahead because yeah, people of course would eventually develop like a silent form of language, but that would take some time to form when this alien invasion, there some of those like news articles, that they read like, death toll in this town or this city is hundreds of thousands and people shocked by the complete massacre of the military. So if these things are acting that quickly, like, they've gotta be it's like I don't know how fast they can develop a language versus how fast everybody's dying. But regardless, my point was kind of like, hey, they're already like the reason that family's probably still alive is because they could already one of them would be because they already had that advanced silent language ready to go. So they didn't have to develop it. They didn't have to add to it or anything over that. I think that's what I meant.
I got it. I was just making a little fun of it.
All right.
My bad, Aaron.
And the only
Hilty,
other
I have a question for Hilty.
I'm gonna answer one other of your questions. "Come On Feel the Noise" by Quiet Riot would be my song that I would add
That's a
into
good one.
Okay.
this.
Yep.
So
So Hilty, well, I mean, other people can jump in and try and help him out with this question because I feel this is a question only Hilty could answer. So this movie was the fourth highest grossing horror movie of original story. What were the first three?
Ooh.
The
It's
fuck
got to
is-
be
the
a
f-
Peel one, right?
the fuck-
Isn't one of Jordan Peele's one of
fuck
the
is
three?
this? Like,
I'm trying to help. You already said it.
how come everyone gets a question about the film and I get a fucking trivia question? What is
Well,
this?
because you know everything
You're the
about
trivia
film.
master.
Okay.
You host trivia.
Can you give me, do you have years for this? Can I at least ask for that?
Yeah. The first one, I think it was 1999, maybe 98.
That's The Sixth Sense.
correct.
Okay.
The second one was around 2002.
The Ring. No, that's not original because that was Japanese remake.
Oh, starring Muku Ha.
Oh, I'm
Yes, of
enjoying
course.
watching this. This is something.
You
2002.
just
Give me the last one.
The last one was 2025.
Sinners. That's
Yeah,
Sinners.
somebody already mentioned that one. Yep, Centers.
So
I'm a very good driver. Very good driver.
2002 horror movie. Would this be
Original
considered?
content.
Would this be considered? Does this count? Is it Signs?
It is science. I was gonna
Okay.
say it's. I mean, science I think is considered horror, but it's not really,
Yeah.
very scary.
Yeah,
Right.
that was back in the day when Shyamalan actually like he was all hits and yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, I want this
Impressive.
trivia thing with Hilty to happen every week. So whoever's doing the
No, come
conversation,
on.
have a trivia question for Hilty every week.
I mean, he got all three of them.
He got all three of
That's
them.
pretty
Oh, yeah.
impressive.
No, it's very impressive.
All right. Yeah, my thoughts, I like the movie. There's a lot of things that you just have to, accept. Like we were talking about the newspaper stuff, wouldn't it be a lot of noise making newspapers and delivering newspapers? So those people probably end up getting killed.
This movie is filled with so many shut up nerd moments that it's kind of hard not to.
That had to happen.
Yeah,
That had to
just-
happen.
Yeah.
Alien,
Yeah.
super sensitive to sound. Military, get on that. Just
Yeah, boom, boom. Yeah.
let's just find the frequency. Oh, there it is. 38 minutes.
Well, they didn't know that was a weakness for the things, though.
Yeah, but it wouldn't. I mean,
I know. Shut up, nerd.
Wait, who's the
It-
nerd in this between me and you about
That's
this
me.
conversation?
In this case, me.
I think it's me. I think it's me for asking. I want to be the nerd.
All right.
And one thing
Well,
I did read,
I think
they-
we're both nerds in our own way in this one.
They don't eat the people. They actually just kill them. So it might be just a thing that they think they're defending themselves when they hear noise and they better go attack and kill this person. Because that's what I thought at first. I thought they're just eating these people. That's their food, but apparently they don't.
So what do they eat?
Good question.
They
Watch
I
the
did
next
read-
movies.
Yeah, I was gonna say watch the next movie because you do figure that out eventually.
Okay. Okay.
You know,
I did
when
have-
Hilty was talking about being in a theater and it's quiet, I know I would end up losing my shit because somebody would start talking. And I literally went up to people during Tron Aries this weekend.
Brian's the monster. He's the monster in
yeah.
the movie.
I
I-
disagree. I think the people who are talking in the
Yeah.
theaters, they're the real monsters.
Yeah, but I like it. I like Brian's, head. Like, shut the fuck up.
Listen, I don't know what kid's talking over there, but those parents better get their shit together and shut that fucking kid up.
I have no idea how long my arm is. What?
All right. Okay, that might be it. Anybody else got any
Okay.
other comments about?
I did. I had one thing. I liked.
Oh, and your song. Sorry, Tim.
Oh, I went with the Sound of Silence. I haven't come up with a better
Okay.
one since then.
Okay.
I think you were fishing for the right song there. And I would go with the live version from Central Park, from Simon and Garfunkel on that. The teaching thing. I was a little while watching it. I was like, just let it go. Just let it go. It's a movie. I like that they put that in there. Like if you're in that environment and the dad is clearly some kind of engineer or scientist, at least motivated person to create this compound with the different lights and working with all the sound technology and stuff. It's almost like he was waiting for this to happen so he could use all of his skills, to build his compound. The teaching thing. I love that it's in there because that's what you would want to do with your kids. But she's like, well, you divide by 12 and then you carry the 3. And then she's like, amazing. It's not amazing to carry a 3. It's not amazing. And then in the background, there's a Shakespeare sonnet. So like the levels of what's going on here are way all over the place. Maybe the daughter is reading Shakespeare, she's a little more advanced, and the son is just getting to, solve some equations in algebra, but I'm just saying amazing for carrying a 3 is not amazing. That's all I have to
Some
say.
people aren't good at
Nerd.
math.
Yeah, I taught Wildens. You can get anybody to learn how to carry a 3. All right. That's I'm getting some negative feedback from the crew here. All right. I'm gonna move on and go to our next one. Oh no, wait, we have to take guesses.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
I
we
forgot
do.
we're in the middle of doing. This wine is really good though. Let's go to on my screen, I'm gonna go in the order that I see everybody. Brian, your guess for who picked A Quiet Place.
Mike Wilden.
All right. I am next. I'm gonna pick Melo. I think this feels like a Melo pick. Dan,
I think this is a Hilti.
Hilty pick. Matt Smith, you are muted. You'll have to unmute yourself. I'll talk through it and then you give your guess on who do you think picked A Quiet Place.
I'm gonna go
You look
Hilty.
like you're trying to carry a 3. He said Hilty. Uh, Wilden, who do you believe picked A Quiet Place?
Real quick, I love that you picked Malo because there was no sound in this basically, and so like because if there was singing, it would absolutely not be him. So I like that you went the opposite with that logic there. Brian told us that this was him. I'm just gonna believe him.
Yeah, nice. I like that. Aaron?
Damn it. I was hoping we could all pick it. Well, I'm going to pick Brian too because I think he's a honorable and an honest gentleman.
Unlike you.
Oh, honorable. I see what you're doing there. That's been a issue lately. And Mike Hilty, who is reacting to the word honorable. You are muted. Hilty, your guess on who picked A Quiet Place or your comment on what just happened.
No comment on what just happened, but that's okay. It is what it is. Uh, he's been gone for a while, so it's Wilden. This is a Wilden movie. He's got to redeem himself from the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey fiasco somehow.
He's been trying for months. All right.
Months. That was like 2 years ago.
Feels like
well,
yesterday.
It's 24 months.
Yeah, it is pretty fresh for all
We
of
know
us,
exactly
so.
when it was 24 months, 6 days, 8
Yeah.
hours.
All right.
And the streak is alive. We once again brought up Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. If the person is here, will you raise your hand if you picked A Quiet Place?
Because you also
Damn
told
it, it
me
was
that
Wilden.
he told me.
He
I
told
liked-
you.
What
Oh,
did I
that's
tell
not
you?
honorable at all.
I like the.
No,
the-
he told me when he picked Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey that this was also on the radar, and
Oh,
I
good
was
background
I was
information.
partially the one that convinced him to choose violence.
Wait, so we could have
Sure.
watched this instead of that bad fucking movie and it's your fault?
Yeah.
I remember that now.
That's
It's
some
funny that
bullshit
you
right
remember
there.
that before I do, but yeah, that's true. Because the category was horror slash B movie horror. Like you gave me two different, and I was like, oh well, I
Yeah.
could go do two completely different directions with that. And I really, really liked the idea of A Quiet Place. But then I was gonna go Evil Dead. I was like, oh man, that's kind of tough. And then for whatever reason, I stumbled on Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and when I ran it by Hilty, he was like, choose violence.
He could
Yeah,
have
so-
not listened to me, so
Brian threw me off for no reason because I mean it's horror.
Less than honorable.
It's basically got dinosaurs in it, and it's like the opposite of his personality. This is the least wordy movie ever. So
Yeah.
I was definitely, and then you picked Brian, and I was like, well, I'm definitely picking Mike. And I'm like, I don't know, I don't know. You reeled me in. You hooked me, man.
Yep.
I'm your walleye.
Well done, Brian. Well done.
Several of us were hoodwinked. Nice job, everybody. All right, so I picked the next movie, and this is something. While Hilty was talking, I took out of the bag and looked at this, and we'll see what happens here. I'm not sure I fully understand the title, but we'll do a little research and we'll figure it out together. Unless I picked it, and I do know what's going on. The title of the movie we are about to watch is Pee-wee as Himself from 2025, and it says that it's a 2-part miniseries.
it's a doc.
It's a documentary. on Pee Wee Herman.
Mhm.
Okay. I've never heard of it.
Those
Or
movies
I
on
picked it and I know
HBO. I
exactly
guess.
what's going on.
I guess I'm tipping my cards a little too much, but fair enough.
No, I have heard of it.
It's not surprising,
Sorry about
Hilty, that you know what I just read out loud. So Matt right now, and I believe Brian, are both looking up where somebody could watch this or
HBO.
where
It's
it's
on HBO
available.
Max.
It's on
That's-
HBO Max. Okay. So
I don't think you're playing the game right,
Yeah.
Mike. I don't think that's.
I
Or
had to
he's
re-
Brian Larsoning me.
I had to review it for a website, and
mhm.
or I didn't. I
Mhm.
chose to review it for a website.
So you either knew it anyway, or that's why you know it, one or the other. That'll be fun for us to unravel next week. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be watching and discussing Pee Wee as himself from 2025, which is apparently a documentary about Pee Wee Herman. Looking forward to that. Hilty, you look like you were going to say something. I don't know, like I gave you some space there.
I was about to say something, but you were in the middle of wrapping everything up. So
Oh, well, for God's sake, say it. This is the long wrap. It's the long wrap.
okay,
Carry the 3, Hilty. Carry the 3.
carry the 3. Okay.
Or just leave it as a remainder. It's fine.
No, I'll carry the 3. It's all good. Mike Wilden, do you know who Pee Wee Herman is?
Oh, for fuck's
All
sake.
right, we're done.
Hang on. Hang on. Serious question. Do you know his
Yes,
real name?
I do.
Do you
Yeah.
know his real
what?
name?
Do you know his
Paul
real
His
name?
real name.
Oh
Oh.
no, I've heard it before, but I don't remember what it was.
God, okay.
I've heard it recently.
I don't know.
uh,
Say it on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Paul
Rubens.
Rubens.
There you go. All right. This has been movie number 245. We'll see you guys later.
That'll do it for this episode of the BTB Movie Club podcast. Thank you as always for listening. We know we enjoyed ourselves. We hope you did too. Have yourself a great week. We are partnered with the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.